Hello everybody, good day. My name is Wilke van Boxtel, New Energy from TradeReact.com, and I'm presenting to you the weekly market review of April 4th till 8th, 2016. I'm going to look at some forex pairs, gold, oil and S&P 500. Leave a like if you like the video, leave comments below the video. If you got some questions, maybe I can answer them in my upcoming webinars, free webinars this week on Dukascopy Community. So first I will show you here the disclaimer. You can read it and pause it. Forex is full of high risk. Trading is full of high risk. You have to manage your risk and size. And I will educate you and inform you about some weekly interesting levels. So let's get my screen share going. Here you see my charts and my profile at Dukascopy Community, New Energy. Try to message me or add me if you like. I will put on my overlay here and show you myself on cam. Hey there, hope you're having a great weekend. Mine is really fine. We have some sunshine outside for the first time in spring, so might step out after this to have a bit of sun. But first let's review the markets and continue to look here. You can add me if you want professionally on LinkedIn. I would be happy to connect with you. You also can find me on Twitter, New Energy, Wilke van Boxtel, for private and trading updates. TradeReact.com on Facebook, where I announce my webinars and post some interesting articles, things you can look at. As always, I will be here on the Dukascopy schedule of TV. And let's look here at the calendar for coming week. That is this. Yep. Sorry if I switched away. I pushed the wrong button here. But now we have Monday, Aussie news. Okay, that can be interesting. Starting off the week. Pound, construction PMIs. We have on Tuesday Aussie news, so the week starts a bit with the Aussie. The cash rate here. RBA statement. So yeah, looking forward to that. Pound news again. Services PMI, some Canadian news. The dollar starts up with ISM, non-manufacturing index on Tuesday. We got some Kiwi news, and then Wednesday, crude oil inventories and the FOMC minutes. So that's also nice, starting up some US dollar on the Wednesday. Thursday, unemployment claims, ECB, Draghi speaks. Okay, interesting what he will say. I don't know the time, is it noted here? Probably whole day or later in the day, I guess, in Europe. And Fed Chair Yellen speaks. So Thursday can be an active day. And then into Friday, the closing of the first week of the month of April, we get the pound and the CAD with their employment change, unemployment rate, and a pound with manufacturing production. So yeah, let's look at some, let's pick one pair. If you got a preference, let me know for the next weekly video. I will just try to pick now one pair of all that's here in the news. So starting with the Aussie and then continuing on. So let's go with the Aussie. Also let me know if you listen to this introduction or not. Then I might skip it next time. We'll appreciate that. So here we have the Aussie US dollar daily chart. And we've seen it retest this trend line, horizontal line, and move back up. So let me get out of scope a bit. And then you see we have it here in the lower part. Retested it in March 2015 as support, and then it broke through, and now it came back up and it tested it, and it's now bullish above it. So the next support of resistance is around the 0.80 level on the Aussie US dollar. So for now I look price to hold above this horizontal support of 0.7530-ish for a move higher. So perhaps if we get some pullback this week, we can look for buying opportunities. Here we see the break and the retest and a move higher. So if we get a retest again, we can look to go long. 8 hours, we can zoom in a bit. 4 hour, see the price action. And this is the 2 hour, where you see that line in the middle has been broken, retest, held and moved up. So I'm preferring now a bit of retracement here on the 2 hour. You see some bearish candle and then again matched with a bullish candle. So watching the highs, I don't expect a breakout to the upside from here, but it can happen with the news coming out in the beginning of the week. So I just don't prefer that as a trading entry, because it's a bit, yeah, you have to look at it then in the daily perspective to be able to do that. So here you have it. Then I would prefer a buy above the weekly resistance, so around 0.77-250 and then up higher. But another pullback down into this area of support would be better for an entry long. You can look up some FIP. Hold on. Got my levels in here, tested. Yeah, this between the 618 and the 786. And we have to watch these other levels. Clean that up a bit. We have, of the short-term move from this last bullish move, a target higher here. It hit it shy, but it can go up to 0.7850 or just below it. And from this longer term bullish run, there is that. Has it had a test? Let me check. 38. Barely touched it the second time. The first time it was hit, so then we're looking for that 0.80 next resistance. But if we bring it closer, then it hits some target here. On the second extension there's a bigger drop, so better for management. And then we see some higher prices in between, 0.79. So yeah, prefer to pull back, else look for strong buys out of news, but this is the range, new range we are in with the Aussie US dollar. So let's continue with the pound. Pound US dollar has been zigzagging up and down, but we might focus on the move lower, as it has been in a downtrend and it is now in a range a bit. Let's check out the weekly. The weekly rejected the higher prices, the 144s, but the candle closed a bit bullish, so it's a bit weird close, but I still prefer the sells. Just we have to look at the levels of interest. I can check this other chart if I had something drawn on there in previous review. A lot, so to see. So this is the better picture that we had in previous recording. You see the highs topped here on the dailies, and it did it again, and then it sold off nicely for 230 pips. So if you watch the previous webinars, that must have been a good trade. Now we seem to be closing here on the weekly pivot. So we might look for shorts again, possibly into the lows here, into the 139.30 for another 300 pips because of this rejection here towards the highs. So we can monitor that on an intraday basis from 8 hour and up to find some interesting entries. As you see before, it didn't retrace at all. So if we get a retrace on the beginning of the week, I would still look to short it in between this range and this trend line of the weekly trend line. And also interesting is a sell below 142. If we get a nice close below 142, I would also sell it, possibly down into the recent lows here for 130 pips, 140, 145, 6, or possibly lower, as I said, here into 139, almost getting into some double bottom action. So yeah, keep an eye on the breaking of 142 to the downside on pound US dollar, even down into the 139. If price moves up from the pivot, weekly pivot, keep an eye on that on the 2 hour time frame, for example, like here. Oops. Then I would also look for higher prices to sell back into. So move into 143, keep an eye on that. And yes, the rest has to be managed intraday, so you have to visit my webinars to show some interesting levels around that. Here, see 143 or 143.50 for a good selling opportunity if price might retrace on news to sell it lower into the previously mentioned levels. Hope that helps. Okay, I think I'm in, that were my shoes, I think I'm in about 10 minutes now, so let's continue on. We have some Aussie, we had that, pound, we had that, Canadian and US dollar. Let's look at dollar CAD. We got some FIBs here. Let's zoom out a bit. Weekly. Those are some, let's see if this is cleaner. Dollar CAD. Yes, we measured this drop here. Lower, as you see on the dollar CAD. And it retraced up into the 78.6 around 133, and then it dropped off, and it's now testing the lows, and there it had an up or down movement. Closed a bit bullish with a bullish rejection. So interesting to see if it will bounce up again into the 130, 280 or 133s. And then we still look for sells. So depending on the start of the week a bit with the news, we can look for a bounce here. And then perhaps we'll look continuation into this ranging price action. If we fail here on the 29.50, then we can look for more downside. But then the first target would be again here this thick line of weekly support around 129 or 28.70. And if it breaks that lower, so there's now more room to the upside in between this range, although we're in a downtrend. So let's zoom back in. Make it a bit larger. I try to keep the overview. Let me know if the size is good of my charts, or you want it more bigger like this. Appreciate any feedback you can give, only if it's just one word or something. Great. So here's that tight range. Getting to this latest swing. If it finds support here or a bit lower, 130 where it's at right now, or just below 129.75, we can still look for price to go higher, possibly here into the recent lows around 133.30, 133.2. So looking for longs here if it will keep ranging. If not, then we're switching to shorts into the recent lows and perhaps lower. But first, let's look if price wants to keep ranging and go long from here on the dollar CAD. Right. Continuing back on. We have some Kiwi here. More dollar and more pound. So let's look at the Kiwi and then switch over to the oil, gold and S&P. If you want other pairs to be highlighted, let me know in the video, below the video, comment. Daily, weekly. Look at this pair running wild. With that bottom trend line running up. Let me switch, see if it's more clear here. Oh yes, that was something I was looking about. So let me paint it on here. Get rid of that a bit. You see this trend line breaking two sides of price action in this down slash ranging price action. On the other chart I've drawn something like this. As you can see, there are many trend lines, but I think that the thickest one is the best one. But it can help to pinpoint lower possible support. So it's running now into some highs here of previous weeks, months even. So it might be a good opportunity to look for sells here on the Kiwi dollar, or watch for a break of this trend line. But as here lines are pretty flat and almost turning, a pullback would be nice to get a better price to go long again. But we have to watch what happens there. Let's draw a move, get our setup going. Looking at the whole move from the bottom here to the high, then we've seen some tests here, so that would imply 0.7050 level is of interest. But as you see, it touches nothing there. And if we ramp it up a bit from the real move, it happened actually here. Then we see also this ranging action down here, touching the 0.64 or just below it, 0.6370. And then it has targets also here, 0.76. So that's a fib target, and we might want to watch that the coming week. Let's zoom into the daily. So yeah, this 50% level held pretty good. Then I would watch from that 50% level up to the high of this trend line now, and see that the 38 lines up here, 0.667, and the 618, 0.63, 0.673. So that is possible pullback levels I would monitor for a trade higher. Widening wedge. Possibly a short trade beginning of the week into support, and then a long trade out of this wedge a little bit higher. And you see it's not that far off at the moment, 100 pips. So that's why I first prefer the pullback on this Kiwi dollar. So keep an eye on those levels. Now let's switch to oil. Light crude. We've seen that nice trend line break on light crude. Let me verify if I got here other drawings. The same. We see we're making lower prices overall. This is the weekly light crude. But you see this bullish candle on the weekly that hasn't been closed below yet. So we could keep an eye on that. For some intraday support. And that is coming in around the 36 level. And I have some extension. It's almost at the FIB target of 36.50 or 40. So possible a bounce from there. And then we can go higher, but also if this 36 fails, then we're off again into the lows. So the 36 level will be important on light crude the coming week. Possible support, as it's a weekly support of last week's since March 2016. You can draw a box there. So if that level holds, I look for longs into extension targets. Get rid of that. We can look at that price. That's real high move. Let's do some shorter term of this weekly candles. Higher. Double bottoms. Look for a retest of the highs. Or we can get up into 45.50. R3 of the weekly. If it continues its bullish move above 36. If not, then we look for continuation down, just with continuation trend down on the weekly. So hope that helped. For more insights, follow my free webinars. Watch the Dukascopy schedule for new energy. Now we can switch quickly through gold. See this broken price action. Let's check the other chart also. Okay, let's take this one. You see those two lines. Bit of a wedge. Broken. Let's get into the weekly. On the weekly was visible this 200 MA. Price dropped off. Since then we had that small wedge forming here and it broke down. It retested, ended a bit with a bullish candle, but a rejected one. So if we can see a bounce, we might look for things as double tops to sell against into. But remember, now it broke a bit of this 1200, so that might act as support. And it's at the moment a bit stuck in between that, so it might range between the 1285, 84 and the 1200 until one side breaks out, so back to the downside or back to the upside. Looking at the weekly again here, you see it's still below that 200 MA, so we prefer to see some selling, but if not, we will switch bullish, and then it will be a weekly or monthly bullish type of support. So it's going to be interesting, the 1200 level keeping as support or giving way. Switch to the 8 hours. Here you see that price action. We still got that fib on from the break move. Actually can put it more like here, yeah. It doesn't matter really much. This is better, this is where the reversal started. Then we see the 618 where it rejected and the 50 rejected. So now we look at the 38, if that will reject price. And that is 120, 27. You see 1227.6, yeah. If that fails, we have a target here of 289 points. It's if you put your stops above, it's a 1-to-1, so better to take this on a 2-hour scale and look how price reacts around this area for a better entry with tighter stops. And then we have to monitor the 1200 level going forward, if it acts as support or if it will break to the downside. On gold, S&P, let's look at that weekly. Broken the downtrend lines, continuing up to speed to the upside. Here we have some clearer view. Let's take this. This is the daily. Just keep breaking out. Possibly into 2110, 2111.7. Eight-hour. Let's get a line here at 2111. Coming into the highs of November 2015. Looks like a good target. If we can see a pullback, I will monitor this one. From the last week move. And then look for buys again along the line of 2049, 2043, 2049, preferably strong momentum up, or even a retest here of 2060 or below as this trend line acting as support. I will all look for buys into those areas of 2111 as I just said, or just below it 2100. So yeah, bullish still on S&P 500. It looks like it doesn't want to stop, so then we keep just on continuing this trade and keep an eye on fundamentals and news and happenings this week that might influence your trade. So always manage your risk and size smart. Hope that this helped. If you got any questions at all or remarks, leave a comment below the video. It would be very helpful. And leave a like if you like it. If you like more videos from TradeReact from me, Wilco van Bokstel. New energy on the Dukascopy Community. And I will invite you to my webinars this week, New Energy. Look it up subscribe on my Facebook, so you know when I give those webinars. And yeah, closing up with the social screen here. So thanks again. Be sure to subscribe and like. Have a great rest of your weekend and a good trading week. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.